Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's me again. And we've got a lot of time until Britomart comes out. So in the meantime, I thought I'd try something different, something new, something spicy. And so, today we're going to be reading Wolf Tales. What's Wolf Tales, you ask? I don't know. From what I've seen, it's like Nekopara, but with wolf girls, so it's better. But we'll find out. And there's nothing I can tell you about this game that isn't explained in the first 5 minutes or so, because that's all I know. But we'll see. Anyway, let's begin. Please enter a name. I will most definitely enter my legal name, which is Titranium. That's not how you spell Titranium. I've had that name for 10 years. That's not how you spell Titranium either. Fucking hell. There we go. Oh my god, it's literally me! Hang on. Wasn't ready for this. I stare at the road before me, which is now barely visible thanks to the flurry of snow. The storm had arrived violently while I was out, and before I knew it, I'd gotten stuck in the middle of it. Almost home. My breath is visible in front of me as I creep forward on the snow-covered road. Even though my heater is on full blast, it isn't enough to ward off the freezing cold. I shudder to think of how cold I'd be without it. The sooner I get home, the better. I'd hate to get stranded out here in this. Slowing my truck to a stop in front of the cabin, I turn the key in the ignition and shut it off. The heater immediately stops blowing, and I can already feel the chill hit me. Time to brace myself for the freezing winds raging between me and the cabin. Here goes. I rush inside as quickly as I can, shivering from head to toe despite my thick clothing. The moment I slam the door shut behind me, the sound of the wind howling outside quietens. The chattering of my teeth fills the room. It's warmer in here, but not to the point where I can whimsically toss aside my extra layers and flop down on the couch. If I suddenly remove all my extra layers right this instant, I'd probably pass out from the change in temperature. Is that real? Do people do that? Whose idea was it to start living out here anyway? As the sole occupant of this cabin, I expect no response to my rhetorical question. For better or worse, I decided for myself that I would live in these snowy mountains, all on my own. Alright, tea, a bite to eat. I'll turn in for the night. In the middle of a snowstorm like this, it's important to keep nourished and warm. After reminding myself to adhere to a few basic survival tips, I fill the kettle with water and turn it on. Man, am I glad to have electricity out here. Without ready access to hot water, there's no way I'd survive out here. I should have enough food to last until summer too, by which point I'll be able to go into town without freezing to death. Life out here might just work out after all. Oh. I mean, it's not uncommon for men to decide to make a go of it on their own, isolated from society at large. I'd found it a relatively easy adjustment to begin living out here. Though, in my circumstance, this cabin was my only option at the time. The moment I think so, my body begins to shiver once more. I feel cold wind brush up against my cheek, threatening to give me frostbite if I dare to take off any layers of clothing. That's weird. It shouldn't be this cold inside the cabin. No, there's a snowstorm out there, but this cabin is pretty well insulated. Shouldn't be this cold unless the door's open. Curious about the source, and desperate to stop the cold, I walk through the cabin, trying to figure out where it's coming from. Checking all the windows, I wound up near the back entrance of the cabin, and surely enough, As soon as I spot the back door, I have my answer. Aha! Gotcha. I hurriedly clear away the snow at the base of the door, which seems to have stopped the door from opening or closing any further. I then close the door, lock it, and move a few things in front of the door to prevent it from opening, even if the lock were to break. Oh, that ought to do it. How did the door get open in the first place? I could see myself forgetting to lock it, since I'm all alone out here anyway. But there's no way I'd forget to close it. Is the latch broken? Forget it. I'll think about it later after I've had somewhat warm to drink. I turn away from the door and begin to walk toward the kitchen. No sooner have I begun to move my foot, however, than I realize the floor is soaking wet. Oh, the snow must have blown in and melted. I guess I'd better clean this. Up. My eyes widen as I realize something important. There isn't just one puddle of water. There are several. Following a clear, non-linear path, the puddles show me the path someone, or something, has taken. An intruder? Or maybe a wild animal? I instinctively grab an axe that I keep for wood off the back wall. Sorry, buddy. I understand you want to take refuge from the cold, but a guy's got to protect himself. Axe in hand, I head deeper into the storeroom, prepared to defend myself against the potentially dangerous person or animal that has wandered into my home. Moving even further inside, I cautiously move around a table and... Hello? Freeze. What the... My arms lose all strength as I stare at the peculiar sight in front of me. On the floor of my storeroom is a girl. She's shivering, wet, and her breath is ragged. Red-faced, yet blue in the fingertips. This poor girl looks like she's about to freeze to death at any moment. And yet, what attracts my attention is... that tail. Those ears. It couldn't be. Without thinking, I drop my axe to the floor, and I'm promptly murdered by the intruder. Without thinking, I drop my axe on the floor, and reach out toward the girl's ears. I gently tug on her ears, trying to pull them off, or otherwise expose their stitching. However, no matter how hard I pull, there's no sign of it being a practical joke. Oh, yeah, that's my first concern. This poor thing freezing to death on my floor. Check to see if the ears are real. What is that? What difference does that make? As far as I can tell, his wolf-like ears are real. Impossible. Is she really half-human? That can't be right. I made absolutely certain this place wasn't intruding on the domain of any half-humans. Did I make a mistake? Or is she just... Before I can mull over the girl's presence any further, a whimper brings me back to reality. Oh yeah, you're still here. Sorry. Right. Whatever the reason for her presence here, doesn't change the fact that she's freezing to death in my cabin. I'll worry about the details later. For now, I have to make sure she doesn't die. I grab a towel from one of the shelves in the storeroom and immediately begin to dry the girl off. The moment I make contact with her skin, I realize just how close to death this girl really is. Her body is so cold that I can feel it through the towel. Her skin is deathly pale. She can't stop shivering. Desperately, I rub the girl's body, trying to both dry her off and warm her up. However, no matter how much her body moves about, she does not stir. The girl is breathing, but unconscious. You can tell she's unconscious because she has her eyes open. Even if I tried to, I don't think I'd be able to wake her up. Oh shit. This isn't working. I'm going to have to step things up a notch. Pour boiling water on her head! Many hours pass as the unconscious wolf girl continues to rest. Over time, her breathing gradually becomes less ragged, and the color returns to her skin. The incessant shivering comes to an end. Her lips stop quivering, and a faint yet peaceful smile appears on her face. Aw, isn't that lovely? While it's still too soon to rest easy, it seems like the girl is going to be just fine. Phew. I was worried for a while there. It looks like things have finally calmed down. I guess some dry clothes and a long sleep in a warm cabin were all she needed. Feeling good about myself for having been able to help out, I watch the girl sleep for a while as I contemplate what to do next. The snowstorm has died down now. I should probably have this girl leave as soon as she wakes up. Though, I suppose I could at least feed her first. She must be famished after sleeping for so long, and almost freezing to death. It'd be heartless of me to not at least... While I'm in the middle of thinking out loud, Wolf Girl finally begins to move. What starts out as a faint groan quickly turns into visible movement on her part. The girl's eyelids twitch, and I can see her lips trembling. In a matter of seconds, she'll no doubt open her eyes. That was quite Huh? The girl's eyes open wide as she starts to gain her bearings. Hello! It's me. I own this house. Leave. Her eyes dart about the room, trying to fill the blanks of her memory. Oh. Yes. I remember now. I got caught up in the snowstorm, didn't I? I finally found shelter, but I thought my mind was just playing tricks on me as my body started to shut down. Oh, diddums. Am I really alive? You sure are. At least as far as I can tell. The girl jumps in fright as she finally notices my presence. Hello, it's me. You are... this is... The girl tries to speak, but fails to formulate a proper sentence. She needs elocution lessons. I can help her with that. With that being the case, I decide to explain the situation to her, giving her time to calm down. I found you in my storeroom, shivering and unconscious on the floor. I dried you off and brought you inside. It was hard for me to tell if you were going to survive or not. Whoa! Don't take that off, please. This is a child-friendly channel, have you know. I'll have you know, Missy. There's been none of that. None of that. Not a one. Your fingertips had already started to turn blue by the time I found you. And your breathing was a complete mess. Listening to my calm explanation, the girl looks down at herself. Why are you wearing something this... If it's snowy, do not wear this, alright? I'm immune to the cold, okay, so I can do things like that. But most people can't. It's not a good idea. Ladies, you've been warned. She pinches her clothing, seemingly surprised at how clean and dry they are. My clothes? Did you... I avert my gaze. Oh! I saw your boobies! Yeah, I did. But before you say anything, it's not like I was trying to peek, okay? Your clothes were wet, and you were at risk of freezing to death. I couldn't just leave you like that. Just like me, the girl blushes and looks away. Wolf girl or not, she must surely be embarrassed to have her body seen by a stranger. A human male, no less. Rather than adopt an expression of anger, however, Thank you. You're welcome. Huh? The girl forces herself to look at me once more. With eyes filled with sincerity, continues to speak. I'm a trespasser. I broke into your cabin, intruded in your home, and dared to use your shelter as my own. Yet, despite all of that, you went to such lengths for me. Oh, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. It really isn't that big of a deal, though. You were caught in the middle of a snowstorm. If I were in your situation, I would have broken in too. Besides, all I did was dry you off and clean your clothes. It was nothing major. It is major. If you hadn't taken pity on me, I would have... Before the girl could finish speaking, she was interrupted by the sound of the kettle whistling. Oh. Ah, sounds like breakfast is ready. Excuse me for a moment. I move away from the girl and head toward the kitchen. Once I set foot in front of the kettle, I grab an additional ceramic bowl for my guest, since she's now woken up. Breakfast? You mean to say that it's morning now? That's right. You were asleep a solid 12 hours. After emptying 2 packets of instant noodles, one into each bowl, and pour the boiling water. I then place a fork in each bowl and bring them back into the living room, careful not to let the water spill over the sides. Alright, here you go. Make sure to give it a few minutes to cook before you eat it. I set a bowl down on the table in front of the girl. She stares at it quizzically. Eat this? What is this? Some kind of soup? Kind of. They're instant noodles. All you need to do is put the noodles in a bowl, add hot water, and wait a couple minutes. They're quick, easy, warm, and quite tasty. I begin to stir my noodles around with my fork as I speak. Watching me carefully, the girl hesitantly picks up her fork, stares at it for a moment, then mimics my action. Yeah, that's good, just like that. You have to stir them up a little so the flavorings distributed evenly. The flavoring? It adds additional flavor to the otherwise bland noodles. You ever eaten instant food before? The girl shakes her head. I'm familiar with many aspects of human culture, including some of which our respective races don't share. Even so, instant food is an entirely new concept to me. Oh, is that right? I stare at the girl in partial surprise as she responds, with unexpected eloquence. Far from my mental image of half-humans being savages, this girl seems to be more human than wolf. Oh my goodness, I just realized something. I've been preying on your kindness, yet I haven't even given you my name, or asked yours. Oh, yeah. I guess you're right. Doesn't really matter, though. Not like you'll be staying. I'm Mirari. My pack resides on the other side of this mountain. I was away from the pack when the snowstorm hit and ended up being unable to return to them. Thank you for taking care of me. Speaking almost too quickly for me to understand her, Mirari introduces herself in a panic. She takes a few quick breaths immediately afterwards, and finally begins to calm down again. Pleased to meet you, Mirari. My name's Titranium. I've been living in this cabin myself for... Titranium! Yes? Titranium. Okay. That ought to do it. Do what exactly? My apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt. Human names all sound strange to me. If I don't repeat them out loud, they're too difficult to remember. Oh, I see. Anyway, Mirari. Yes, Titranium? I think it's ready now. Huh? I glanced down at our food. The noodles have begun to expand after absorbing some of the water, and the steam rising from the bowls has lessened considerably. And we're going to eat our fill. Now's the time.
Oh, yes, of course.
Murray picks up her fork and takes another look at the bowl. She raises her fork and licks the water off of it, as though she was trying to eat soup with a fork. Look at that little Minecraft house in the back. Oh, that's great. I like that. Well, hey, after watching Mirari do this a couple of times, I interrupt her. You can drink the water last, after you've eaten all the noodles. Just watch me and do what I do. Under Mirari's watchful gaze, I pick up my fork. After pushing it into a clump of noodles and turning the fork a few times, I raise my fork to my mouth. I take a big mouthful and happily begin to chew the warm, filling noodles.
I see. The food is submerged and the water is too hot to touch, so you use a tool to bring the food to your mouth.
Pretty much. Now, why don't you give it a try? Ooh.
Me?
Of course. That's why you were watching me, remember? Don't worry, it's dead simple. Just get some noodles on the end of the fork and bring it to your mouth.
Okay. I'll give it a try.
Mirari nervously picks up her fork once more. Your neck is really thin and your head is really big. I can help you with that. Mimicking my actions to the best of her ability, Mirari clumsily scoops up a large number of noodles. She then raises her utensil, at which point most of the noodles slip off her fork and fall back into the bowl beneath. Luckily for Mirari, however, a couple noodles manage to hang onto the utensil, and after quickly examining the foreign food one more time, Mirari hesitantly places them in her mouth. Is it good?
This is delicious. It's absolutely amazing. How could something this tasty be cooked in such a short period of time?
You're exaggerating. I mean, I like instant noodles as much as the next guy. But at this point, I'm pretty sure you're hungry enough that even stale bread would taste good. Anything tastes good when you're hungry, you know? The moment I finish speaking, faint grumbling emanates from Mirari's stomach. Her face is tinged red as she looks down, silently regretting the unfortunate timing of her body's honesty. Despite her embarrassment, Mirari picks up her fork once more and continues to eat. You see what I'm talking about? Anyway, it's perfectly natural to become ravenous down here. Your body burns a lot of calories warming itself up when you're out in the cold. After surviving that snowstorm and sleeping for so long, I'd be surprised if you weren't hungry. Just as Mirari is about to bring her fork up to her mouth once more, she suddenly stops.
The snowstorm. I hope she's all right.
She?
No, it's nothing. I was just talking to myself, that's all.
Clearly hoping to avoid questioning, Mirari quickly brings the fork to her mouth and takes another bite. The moment she does, her lips curl at the sides, and a joyful smile plays on her face. After a few tries, Mirari has gotten the hang of eating with a fork. Fueled by hunger, she devours most of the noodles in no time at all, leaving little more than water behind. If I'm not careful, I might finish her own portion first and then start on mine. Once the two of us have finished eating, I grab our bowls and take them back to the kitchen.
Are you going to wash those?
And that's the plan. Unless you'd like to give him one more lick before I do.
Don't remind me of my shameful behavior, please. Hunger truly does turn one into a different person.
Oh, it's fine. I'm not exactly the type of guy you'd expect to find dining at a 5-star restaurant myself, you know?
Be that as it may, I was not going to ask if I could lick the bowls. Rather than that, I was thinking that maybe, if you'd like, I could clean them for you.
You want to do the dishes? Mirari nods vigorously.
It's the least I can do after you treated me to such a scrumptious meal.
Okay then. Look, I'm not going to turn down an offer to help, but do you even know how to clean dishes?
Of course I do. Why wouldn't I know something that simple?
Mirari tilts her head and gazes at me with an expression of apparent confusion on her face. The forks are new to you, but you know how to wash dishes. Fine. You say you can do it, be my guest, sure.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Titanium.
Mirari happily takes my place in front of the sink, which is currently filled with dishes. Oh, you bastard! Displaying unexpected knowledge of human appliance, he carefully turns the handle next to the tap, causing the water to flood the sink. He then twists it back the other way in order to stop the flow of water, and finally takes one of the bowls in her hand. That's rather surprising. For someone who seemed to be so skittish the moment she woke up, Mirari seems to be unexpectedly familiar with human invention. Maybe half-wolves are more civilized than I thought. I'd always pictured them as wild beasts who ran around naked and hunting with their claws and teeth. God, that's so hot. Despite that, Mirari has been clothed since the moment she showed up here, and she hasn't done anything particularly strange or unruly. If anything, she's like an ordinary human being who's lived on the brink of society for just a little bit too long. As I compare Mirari to an ordinary human being, my mind flashes back to the moment I found her. Cold, pale, shivering, dressed in human clothing, seeking shelter in a cabin. Apart from her ears and tail, everything about her seems human. While thinking back to our initial encounter, one more thought crosses my mind. Having found her dressed in wet, disheveled clothing, I made sure to remove Mirari's clothes, and wash and dry them before dressing her once more. At that time, even though it was not my intention, I did get a good look at it. At the time, even though it was not my intention, I did get a good look at her naked body. Yep, just like a human, alright. Wait! What am I thinking about? Bad, Titanium. Get your mind out the gutter. Just as I pull myself back to reality, Mirari suddenly turns around to face me.
Okay, all done.
Huh?
The dishes. I finished cleaning them.
I unconsciously turned my head back toward the sink. To my surprise, the sink, which was filled with plates and utensils I've been meaning to clean for days now, is empty. All of the items which needed washing have been cleaned and placed on the rack to dry. You cleaned everything?
Of course. I couldn't just clean 1 or 2 bowls and call it a day's work.
Well, I wouldn't have blamed you if you had. Really, you didn't need to do all that.
Oh, don't be silly. I did it because I wanted to, not because I had to. Besides, if I'm going to be staying here, I need to make sure I can earn my keep.
Okay then. As long as you're fine with it, I guess. Shuffling off with a bright smile on her face, Mirari quickly disappears into the next room. The moment she does, the words dawn on me. A look of confusion creeps onto my face. Wait, staying here? Earning her keep? Mirari was just talking about the night she's already stayed, right? Or is she actually assuming I'll let her stay another? I look out the window as I contemplate kicking Mirari out. What a cunt! What? What is wrong with this guy? No matter how nice Mirari is, it's against the rules for humans to associate with half-humans in any way. What? Gay? Even though the snowstorm's died down, it might not be over yet. Even if it is over, the snow underfoot is likely to have been dislodged and moved around by the storm, making it dangerous to walk on. One adds to that the blistering cold, not to mention Mirari's near-death experience. It's clear that sending her out wouldn't be a good idea. Can't kick her out. Not yet, at least. No matter how much I prefer to be alone, I'd be eaten by guilt if I sent that nice young girl to her death. Besides, it's not like I can't accommodate one more person for a night or two, and I am curious about how half-humans like Mirari live. For now, let's just call it a sleepover. Then, in a couple of days, when Mirari is feeling better, we'll go our separate ways.
Okay. I finished dusting, tidying up the storeroom, and washing your clothes.
Yo, free maid. Let's go.
Please tell me what you'd like me to do next.
I stare at Mirari in blank amazement as she announces her productivity with vigor. A short while ago, when Mirari asked if there was anything else she could do to help out, I half-heartedly listed several chores which I'd been putting off doing myself. To my surprise, Mirari seems to have completed all of the tasks I offered to her, far more quickly than I could have.
Yep, I managed to get the bloodstains out of your yellow shirt.
Seriously? We're trying to get those out for months. How are you so good at this, Mirari? I don't think I've ever met a human being half as prompt or hardworking as you are.
You're praising me too much. I'm really not anything special.
Don't sell yourself short, girlie. Not many people could walk straight into the home of another race and outdo them like this.
That's only because I'm used to this kind of work. This is really nothing new to me.
I raise an eyebrow at Mirari's odd response. You've done this stuff before? Well, yeah, I want to know, buddy. I guess cleaning clothes is a given. You've been wearing them since the moment I found you, but just how similar is half-wolf culture to that of humans? Are your homes just like ours? Do you do the same chores we do?
That's a bit... I mean, some of us live in houses, though most of us don't.
Ah. So you're one of the few who do. Oh, lucky you.
Yes, well, that's because I...
Eh? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've taken up more than enough of your time. Thank you so much for watching all that you have. If you'd like to see more, please let me know. I'd love to do some more. It seems pretty cool. Regardless, have a wonderful evening. Good night, and cheerio.